Hello friends, my name is Angela. Welcome to my channel Bookaholic Brown Nim. Today I'll be reviewing a book which I recently finished reading, which is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So the book covers the story of this possibly dangerous but certainly mysterious fellow named Kvothe, 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 very unusual name. In the beginning, we have this question in our head whether he's a sage or is he a magician, is he a wizard, is he a murderer, what is he? We don't know him. So but there is this sense of fear that people feel about this person called Kvothe, who is kind of considered mysterious. So there is too much vagueness around this character called Kvothe, and apparently this guy has now retired and he is running an inn. Okay, so that's not a spoiler. You get that in the beginning itself, so it's not a spoiler. Yeah. So then a chronicler or a biographer chances upon him. Basically, these trilogies actually narrates his story. Both of them decide that okay, it will take 3 days for him to narrate his entire story. That will do justice. It cannot be said in one day or so. Day one is part one, which is Name of the Wind, and second book is what's right here behind me, which is The Wise Man's Fear, and third book we are still awaiting, right? So the entire book is not just narration. There is back and forth between what's happening in the in real time and what's happening in the story that Kvothe is narrating. So I would like to organize my review of this book into two pros and cons. So the first pro that I can think of about this book is its pace. It's the number one worry of most of the authors that we have listened to in interviews or in blogs, that they worry about getting the pace right. And Patrick Rothfuss has done such an amazing job in getting the pace right. It's never too rushed, and you don't feel it is too dragged. You always are engaged. You always want to know what's going to happen, or you always want to dwell on each sentences when it is really, when he is doling out this very poetic thoughts. Yeah, so it never bores you. So the pace, he got it perfect. The second pro that I can think of is the way he expresses some feelings. So when I'm talking about feelings, I'm not talking about love. I'm not talking about pain, which is which is common in everywhere, and most of the authors do get it right. From Latin American authors to Indian authors to Japanese authors, everybody get feeling of love expressed some way or the other, abandonment, pain. All these are expressed very well, but in this book, I felt that there are some aspects of human life which may not be termed exactly as feelings, but they do instill some kind of feelings in you. Things like poverty. So the way Patrick Rothfuss tries to explain poverty or show us poverty through the life of Kvothe, the distress that a person goes through, the embarrassment that a person in poverty has to go through, that feeling of pride that sometimes a person in poverty has to hold on to not lose his dignity. Yeah, these things has been done brilliantly by Patrick Rothfuss. Also, like ignorance, like sometimes I feel ignorance is a feeling. It's not just a state of mind. Kvothe goes into the university, and then he comes to understand that, oh, okay, so the knowledge that he has till now is not enough, and it's nothing when compared to the ocean of knowledge out there. And then curiosity. The story is driven by Kvothe's curiosity of to know what these beings called Chandrian is or are, and what are they up to. And so it's the entire story is driven by curiosity. He brilliantly portrays these not so commonly uh, recognized as feelings, for lack of a better word. Third factor is mystery. So there is this character, like in the previous point that I referred to, Chandrian, and we don't know who they are, what they are they dangerous, and why are they doing the things that they're doing, or why are they doing the things that they are accused of doing. I like the way the mystery was slowly built, and then now you are curious to know what's happening with them, what's up with them, who they are. Of course, next is dragons. You can't talk about fantasy these days without talking about dragons, right? Dragons in this book, why it is different, because not because they are a novelty. Obviously dragons are never a novelty in fantasy. What I liked about dragons in this book is that uh, uh, the way the reveal happens, because till that point I never expected dragon in the story. Yeah, till that point when he literally spells it out in that chapter, dragons, I didn't know it he was talking about, or they were referring to dragons. It does a fantastic job of keeping the mystery until the reveal happens, and he just did it very fantastically. So that's one thing I really enjoyed in this book. The fifth pro that I can point out about this book is the believability of magic. So it's not just out there in your face magic, somebody just waving a stick at you and something happens to you, or somebody disappears. It's not like that. So the magic is believable, and sometimes the characters explain to you why certain things happen. Obviously in the real world it wouldn't make sense, but in the magical world, in the realm, it should make sense. There is this attempt by the author to make the magic believable, and it is not a deliberate attempt, it is very organic. So that's about the pros. Coming to the cons, so let me start where I stopped. So it's still about the believability of magic. I talked to you, right? He gives you definition, he gives you some kind of magical logic behind the magic that happens in the book. At the same time, I felt that for a high fantasy novel, the magic is too rare. It is too scattered, and most of the times it's very vague. You don't know whether he's talking about a natural phenomenon or it is just magic. Yeah, like the blue flame that people see in the sky. I think the magic is too scant in the book. Second con that I want to talk about is there are no big reveals or mystery. So I am a huge fan of mystery and reveals, and turning a corner and being surprised. uh, there are not many moments like that. You don't get that jump scares or jump surprises, as I may call it. uh, so that really, it's a minor thing to pick on, but yes, that's one point that I wanted to point out. Uh, Foreshadowing is point number three in cons. Uh, there were minor foreshadowing, you may call it, but you could see them coming. You could see, or you can just say that it was foreshadowing. You can just predict what's going to happen. So, in terms of foreshadowing, I think that it was quite dry and quite predictable. The next con, it's much more serious, and that is the friendship between Quoth and the other two guys, Simon and Willem. And in most of the stories, let it be Harry Potter or any other fantasy novel for that matter, I always felt the depth of friendship, the depth of connection that the main character or the protagonist has towards his sidekicks, but friends basically. So I didn't feel that in this story because they come and go, and they usually, even though they study in the same university, they don't hang out together. He has his own line of thoughts and he's in his own world. So they're not together as such, but they get together, like, in the evenings when they're hanging out in an inn, and that I found very unsatisfying. uh, of course, they don't have to be together 24/7 to be good friends. The friendship as such, I didn't feel it. Was it because it was a first person narrative? We are not supposed to feel those kind of things because it's a first person narrative. I don't know, but I did not feel it. Fifth con is also somewhere related to this. It's about his love interest, Denna. Now, Denna is a strange character. I don't know how. I just couldn't relate to it. Maybe it's a different world, that it's a different world setup. So maybe that's how women are in that universe or in that world. But Denna is this character who comes and goes. She is not rooted, which is nothing wrong. She can be as carefree and what do you call that, unhinged. Not in a negative way, but you could call it a traveler or whatever she wants to be. But I find that the way she treats quote inconsiderate, and I didn't feel, again, the depth of love between them. I do not understand why the author couldn't take some more time to give the readers the feel uh, of the love between them. I would like to quote something that quote's friends tell him about Denna. So the quote is, basically, it's not a quote, it's just a snippet from the book. I just don't understand what you see in her, Sim said carefully. I know she's charming, fascinating, and all of that, but she seems rather, he hesitated, cruel. I nodded. She is. Simon watched me expectantly, finally said, What? No defense for her? No, cruel is a good word for her, but I think you are saying cruel and thinking something else. Denna is not wicked or mean or spiteful, she is cruel. Sim was quiet for a long while before responding. I think she might be some of those other things, and cruel as well. What do you think? So, this is waiting time. So, like I said, there are pros and cons, more pros than cons. I would love to have more of magic and mystery factor added in, and I hope really the second and the third book will have them. Maybe this is just a build up to the actual. High fantasy story that I was expecting. Weighing all these pros and cons and things that I enjoyed and not, I would give it 3.5 out of 5, which is a great rating because I usually, the best books that I love, for example, off the top of my head, Pillars of the Earth, for example, I would give it 4.5 because it's one of my favorite book, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. If you haven't read it, please read it. So 3.5, considering that this is a debut novel from Patrick Rothfuss, it's a great attempt at fantasy, and I'm really looking forward to reading the second book. And before I leave, I would like to leave with by reading a passage from the book. It's chapter 18, Roads to Safe Places. This really touched me. Touched me in the sense I really liked enjoying that passage. So let me read that and then end this review. Perhaps the greatest faculty our minds possess is the ability to cope with pain. Classic thinking teaches us the 4 doors of the mind, which everyone moves through according to their need. First is the door of sleep. Sleep offers us a retreat from the world and all its pain. Sleep marks passing time, giving us distance from the things that have hurt us. When a person is wounded, they will often fall unconscious. Similarly, someone who hears traumatic news will often swoon or faint. This is the mind's way of protecting itself from pain by stepping through the first door. Second is the door of forgetting. Some wounds are too deep to heal or too deep to heal quickly. In addition, many memories are simply painful and there is no healing to be done. The saying, time heals all wounds, is false. Time heals most wounds. The rest are hidden behind this door. Third is the door of madness. There are times when the mind is dealt with such a blow, it hides itself in insanity. While this may not seem beneficial, it is. There are times when reality is nothing but pain, and to escape that pain, the mind must leave the reality behind. Last is the door of death, the final resort. Nothing can hurt us after we are dead, or so we have been told. Thank you for listening to this review. See you in the next video.